I'm so sorry. Oh, you're looking at a blank screen. How confusing. Hello, Poppy. Oh, I don't know why. I know I'm a physics teacher, but I think part of my brain is still sort of thinking that you're inside my phone, and I was worried that I'd bopped you on the head because the piece of paper had fallen onto my phone. It's funny. You can know things, but your brain doesn't really know things. Oh, hello, Will, on your mum's FB. Hey, Poppy and Cherry, fabulous. Oh, hi, Sam. Scrolling down. Oh, hello, Emily. Emily, were you not here yesterday? Hello, Olivia, age 9. Guys, it's really confusing because Olivia, age 8, has been coming for ages. Like, that's her name, Olivia, age 8. But now she's 9. Olivia, age 8, is 9. Super weird. Anyway, happy birthday, Olivia. I hope you had a very nice day. I trust you did. Hello, Nor. Hey, Erin. Hello. I haven't seen you for a while. Hi, Ayan. Bethany was the first here, everyone. Just Bethany was the first here, just in case no one knew that. It was Bethany, okay? It's not a competition, but they were first. I've still got my bean pants up from the fart show. It's just a bit embarrassing and just looks weird now. I'm just covering them up with your lovely cards that you've sent me. Oh, hello, Leah. Hi. Hey, Alia and Lyra. Hello. Hi. Oh, and there's Olivia as well. Hello. Scrolling down. Scrolling down again. There's Poppy again. There's Will. Okay, Will, I'm going to try to remember that you're called Susan, but I'm sorry if I forget. Hello, Matthew. Hello, Ezzy. Ethan and Emily and Eben and Eli are saying, Het Lara, Borda. I'm sure that pronunciation was on point. Oops, it asked me to send a request. Was I meant to or just watch? Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah, no, sometimes people do accidentally request to be in the video, but I always just ignore that. Hello, Victoria. Hey, Jack. Oh, Jack is also age 9. That's weird. Jack and Olivia have the same second name. Poppy's road is getting fixed. That sounds loud, but I suppose it's good. If your road was broken, that's good. Hey, Ruben and Kai in London. I love London. Oh, do you know, I'm going to scroll to the bottom and then we'll get started. But someone who I really like a history teacher who does YouTube and Facebook things, she got in touch with me, like, hi, do you want a collab? It's like, oh yeah, that'd be great. She was like, oh great, let's meet here. And I was like, I'm in York. And she was like, oh, sorry, I forgot everyone doesn't live in London. And I was like, London. Just assuming everyone lives in London because it's so great and huge. Hello, James. Anyway, sorry, ran over. Hopefully she'll come to York and we can still do a thing. Oh, Emily had to leave after 5 minutes. Emily, I didn't even, you were so, talkative and gave such good comments in the first 5 minutes, I just assumed you'd stuck around. Hello, Forrest and Dean, which is housing Stan and Ted. Hi, Polly. Hello, Mia. and Amelie. Hello. Hi, Mia. Hey, Izzy B. Mia, I'm laughing because your adults have told me how to pronounce your name, which is nice of them. Hello, Alice. Hey, Sophie and Ben are here. Hello, Iola. I'm laggy. How dare you? Hello, Emily and Christina. I'll see what everyone else says. Oh, Reggie's here. Awesome. How should I get rid of the send request thing? Oh, I've got no idea. Sorry. Someone tell Alia and Lyra how you get rid of the chat request. Not a clue. Stop. Reload. Turn me off and on again. That always works for me. Hashtag physics. Oh, hello, Zaki. Hi, Marco. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm speeding up. Ruben and Kai are still here. That's good. Just working on your mum's Christmas present. Nice. Hi, Caris. Thanks, Erin. Yeah, brilliant. Rickrolling me. Haven't even flipped yet. Okay, let's do that now. Let's flip. Everyone ignore Erin, who is singing catchy songs in order to throw me off my game. Okay, I'm flipping. I'm flipping right now. You ready? I'm going to flip. Hi, Ania and Amalia. Hello. I'm going to flip. You ready? I'm flipping. I'm doing it. Hello, everybody. I am Lara. I am your science teacher. You are the Science Alliance. This is Theatre of Science Home Ed, isn't it? It's lesson 4 of reproduction. We're going to do some recaps. So don't worry if you didn't see the previous lessons or if you've possibly forgotten them. So, you know how, your digestive system is your stomach and your guts and it makes your body digest food? Yeah, and the circulatory system... Oh, sorry, Chloe, did I miss you? Hello. The circulatory system is your heart and your veins and it pumps blood around your body. Your reproductive system is the thing that allows humans to reproduce. make new humans. But the reproductive system is strange and cool because there's like a choice of two. There's the male reproductive system, which we've looked at, which produces these little guys. Izzy B, she's here. She got me a little cuddly sperm and egg. I'm so happy. So the male reproductive system, we've talked about it, like the penis and the testis and all that stuff. The whole point of that is to produce sperm, these little cells, tadpoles. We talked about them in the first lesson. They contain 50% of the male DNA, just half of the DNA required to make a person. The female reproductive system, we've looked at that as well, like the vagina, the cervix, the womb, all that stuff. That produces the egg, which is much, much bigger than the sperm. This is Izzy B, I love this, but it's not to scale, is it? We looked at in the first lesson how if you put 3 bean cans next to each other and say that that's the size of the egg, then the sperm is, I think it was like 1 grain of rice. Very big size difference. But anyway, ultimately what has to happen is the sperm and the egg have to meet, fuse together, and we call that fertilization. We say the egg has been fertilized to become one, and that new cell starts to grow a new person. Okay, so let's very briefly, if you have been to the past few lessons, sketch me out a female reproductive system. That would be very good practice for you right now. You don't really know you've understood something until you try and recreate it yourself. So the female reproductive system is like 2 little clouds. Please be thinking about the labels if you have been before. These 2 little clouds are where the egg is. Do you remember? We've talked about how the egg is not made in the ovaries. These are ovaries. But the egg is stored in the ovaries. Human females are born with as many eggs as they will produce throughout their lives, but the eggs sort of sit in the ovaries and then slowly develop, and the one that's developed like pops out. So the egg is stored in the ovaries. And then if one comes out, it travels through these egg tubes, the oviducts, yeah, aqueduct is like a tube that carries water, oviduct is a tube that carries an egg. There's one. So this is the oviduct here, these little tubes. This big triangular bit in the middle is the womb, or the uterus, sort of better science word. And then we had like the cervix down here, didn't we? Kind of like a neck muscle that tightens. And the vagina. And the vagina is where the sperm arrive. So I'll draw a little tadpole, right? It's arrived in, well, there's loads on them. There's like literally hundreds of millions of them. But hundreds of millions of little tadpoles arrive in the vagina. And we've just been saying, hello, Alice and Ben. We haven't been saying that. I'm saying that now. Hi, Alice and Ben. We've been saying, we looked at the journey last week. It's perilous, but eventually the sperm makes it through the cervix, through the womb, the uterus, travels down the oviduct, and we've just been saying the sperm and the egg meet in the oviduct, and then like new person starts to grow. But what really happens? What really happens when the sperm and the egg meet? Well, have you got a little ball of Play-Doh with you? I said to bring some Play-Doh or some blue tack. As ever, it's not complicated. You can always just watch mine, right? So the sperm and the egg have got half the DNA required to become a person, okay? The DNA is in these little sacs called the nucleus, but the sperm and the egg, the nuclei, the bits with the DNA in them, they fuse together and eventually form one cell with one nuclei. And that is called a zygote. Pretty much every word I teach you today is going to sound like an animal out of Harry Potter. So the first word I want you to remember is this word zygote, which is the name for what you call the sperm and the egg after they fuse together. You get this completely new cell. I'll draw it. It basically just looks like a big egg, but it's not an egg because it's the egg and the sperm fused, become as one. So everyone, I think zygote sounds like something that would have like walked up and down the greenhouse munching on the mandrakes. But no, you have been a zygote. I have been a zygote. A zygote is just the single cell. It's like the sort of most like unthinking, kind of careless form of human you can possibly get. I was thinking it'd be quite a good insult. Like, oh, you zygote, you've been holding the map upside down the whole time. Or, those sweets were for the trick-or-treaters, you zygote. If anyone can think of something better than that, please put it in the comments. But anyway, zygote, one-celled human, basically. How does that zygote get bigger? Well, oh, Fantastic Beasts, Olivia. I haven't read that, but yeah, okay. You could think of the zygote from Fantastic Beasts. What happens is, it splits. It just splits in half. We could do a whole extra lesson on why that happens, but we're just going to say it splits in half. So if you've got some Play-Doh or some Blue Tack with you, split it in half. The zygote is now 2 cells. Notice how the cells are smaller because they've come from one cell, but they've still both got all the DNA required to make a person. So this is just a 2-celled thing now, living thing. Zygote sounds like a Pokemon, whatever helps you remember it. And then what happens to these two? So these, oh, I've rubbed off my diagram, but these guys are, the ovary is where they come out, right? Where the egg comes out. The oviduct is where the sperm and egg meet and become this zygote. And then this zygote travels down the oviduct, multiplying and dividing. And that's the uterus, okay? So you've got to divide your 2 balls again and then stick them all together. I'm not going to keep doing this, it's quite tedious, but you can guess what happens. After 4 cells, this looks really freaky. After 4 cells, they all double again. You can't read because your book is upside down, you zygote. Someone's crocheting a giraffe. That is excellent multitasking. All right, I'm only going to go up to 8, but you get it. The 1 zygote cell becomes 2 cells, and then those 2 cells become 4 cells, and then those 4 cells become 8 cells, and it travels down the oviduct, multiplying and dividing like that, until eventually it's about 200 cells big, and it implants itself into the wall of the uterus, the lining of the uterus. I'm going to write this word because it's a good word to use. It just gets stuck in there. It really burrows down into the lining, which we'll look at next week when we look at menstruation periods and stuff. But yeah, and at this point, and at roughly this point, it changes its name. So it's been a zygote, and then it's a dividing ball of cells, and the other word I need you to know is embryo. You might have heard of that. With a Y, not an I. Embryo. Oh. So now it's a bigger ball of cells stuck in the lining of the uterus. It becomes an embryo, and it divides more and more. We'll look at what else happens in a sec. I think that's all you need to have a go at this sheet. I want to check you've understood that and also give you some stuff to think about. Yeah, by answering these questions for me. Complete this task. I'm flipping you. Here we go. So, here's your question sheet, please. I've drawn you a big picture of an ovary and an oviduct and a bit of a uterus. And I've put a cell at various stages. And at the different stages, I'd like you to tell me what's the name of the sort of cell or the ball of cells, what's the name of the thing you can see, and also what is actually happening. So you've got a tadpole type thing and a little ball type thing meeting just outside the ovary in the oviduct. That's number 1. So what is it? What are they? What's happening? The second stage, it's not that much bigger, is it? It should be a bigger thing that looks a bit like an egg, but it's just one thing. What is its name and what is happening there? Stage 3, we've travelled further along the oviduct towards the uterus, and now there's a sort of ball of 4 things. What's happening there? And finally, a big ball of cells is sort of stuck in the uterus. So I want you to tell me what that ball of cells is called and what's happening there. And if you finish that, can you tell me what mistake I've made in stage 1? So I said there was a tadpole thing and a kind of ball type thing. I've made an error there. Tell me what the error is. And if you finish all that, I'd like you to tell me this thing that will turn into a human, what will it need to survive as it grows in the uterus? So I've put, imagine you're all alone on a bumpy car journey for 9 months, unable to stop. You're in a car on your own, it's a bumpy ride, 9 months. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? What do you need, though, to survive? I'm going to make you do that completely alone. I mean, I've talked for a minute anyway. In a second, I'm going to put up some words to help you. What I'd like you to do is try and answer that all by yourself, and then I'll put up some keywords at the side here that will give you some huge clues. You can't ride that skateboard, zygote, because you're a zygote. Well, I mean, yeah, what you mean because the zygote isn't very careful, or just because the zygote is incapable of riding a skateboard? So I am late. Oh, hello, Ellie. There is a Pokemon called Zygarde. I did not know that. Well, you've missed a bit, Ellie, but actually it's quite a good time because I'll go through the answers in a sec. Right, I am going to be quiet for 10 seconds to help you do that, and then I'll put the words on the board. Your mum's a zygote because she just sat on your plasticine. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. You zygote, you just sat on my plasticine. Olivia says number 3. Oh, well done. Yes. So Olivia, I don't think it is a zygote once it starts dividing, but yes, you're right. You could say has divided. Justine, you would need a lot of petrol if you're in the car. Yeah, but think about what you would need, okay? The car's just driving. Don't think about what the car needs. Okay, here's some words to give you a clue if you want to start marking that yourselves or if you're a bit stuck and you need some help. So appearing on the board now are the words embryo, dividing and multiplying, zygote, implanting, egg cell, sperm, fertilisation and single cell. You've probably, because that's what we've said, just called it an egg. But can we start calling it an egg cell? Because I've found some past paper questions, GCSE questions, and it all seems to say egg cell and not just egg. Ayan said seatbelt. Yes, Ayan, I'm going to write that down. Good work. Yes, you would need a seatbelt. You would need some form of protection. Oh, that's brilliant. You've got a Pokemon card of Zygarde. I really want to see, what does Zygarde look like? Is it just like one blob? Is it quite a foolish Pokemon? Olivia... 4, yes, nice, well done. Zygote travelling along oviduct, wonderful, yes, very good, Olivia. Yes, Olivia said entertainment yesterday. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, we didn't talk about that, did we? You would need entertainment. Yeah, do things growing in wombs have entertainment? I think they do. Some people play like Mozart. I think I did that to my first child. A seat, nice. You would. Yes. This is good. I thought you're not giving me the obvious answers. Okay, let's go through the first questions. And then we'll get on to what would you need, because you're warming me up nicely to the next bit. Sustenance. Oh, that's a good word, Daniel. Oh, yes. So I thought you were just going to say, like, food. No, sustenance. Things to sustain you. I was looking at you for how to spell sustenance, but I don't think you can spell it either. That's good. Sustenance? Anyway, right. Let's look at these different stages then. So stage 1, hopefully, I would think that by now, if you've been to previous lessons, I would hope that you know that the tadpole-like thing is a sperm and the blob is an egg. But we're going to call it an egg cell now because the GCSE seems to want it to be a bit more precise, and we might as well get used to using the right language. What is happening? You only need one word, really. You could say fertilisation. Fertilisation. Could be a Z or an S. The S is the British spelling. I say fertilisation. Fertilisation is a quick way of saying that the egg and the sperm are fusing together. Their nuclei are fusing together. Number 2, did you get that was a zygote? You zygote. Just one cell, which is the result of the sperm and egg fusing together. And what's happening? I think I just put one cell. The sperm and egg have become one cell with like all the DNA that they need. 100% of DNA required to make person. I just put one cell. Here what's happening? Well done. So a lot of people have put multiplying and dividing. Multiplying. So careful, I don't think you call it a zygote once it started multiplying. But you can just call it a ball of cells. There is a word. It's called a blastocyst, which is another. It sounds like a sort of 3-headed dog, but you don't need it for GCSE, so we'll skim over it. I want you to remember zygote and embryo. This thing here, implanted in the uterus lining, is an embryo. eventually. And what's happening, I would like the word implanting to mean that it's sort of sticking to the lining of the uterus, and that's where it's going to be for 9 months. What mistake did I make? I haven't seen that in the comments. Mitosis. Oh, well done, Katie. Yes, mitosis is what it's called, everyone, when a cell splits in half. Oh, Olivia's telling me what things you would need. Warmth, entertainment. Oh, get rid of waste. Well done. Yes, I didn't know if anyone would say that. You would. If you were in a car journey for 8 months, 9 months, you would need somewhere to put your waste. Good. The mistake that I have made is that the sperm and the egg are definitely not in proportion. The sperm is almost the same size as the egg, so the size is incorrect. Right, yeah. So your answers to B, what you need if you were on a 9-month car journey, is... Oh, excuse me. Leading us nicely to this next bit. Let's have a look at what happens to this embryo as it starts to grow. So I'm flipping. Excretion, what a great word. Hello. So, have you got with you, I said to bring an empty spice jar and some string and like a bit of plastic from your recycling and some scissors, and keep the blue tack or the Play-Doh. We'll look at what happens, we'll build a strange model of what happens now. So this little thing in the uterus lining, it grows and grows and grows, and eventually it becomes what we call a fetus. So the embryo is kind of laying the foundations, if you like. So when it's an embryo, all these cells, first of all the cells are exactly the same, and then they all start to sort of change and they all take on different roles. So eventually the embryo's organs form, and when it's about week 10, let's get rid of all this, at about week 10, when everything's kind of in place but in very sort of simple basic form, that's when we call the whole thing a fetus. And so the fetus is like all the foundations are there, but it's kind of developing. So we'll say that it's week 10 now. So I used to put an O in fetus, but actually again the GCSE mark scheme is happy with just the spelling fetus. Makes it a lot easier for us. So the fetus happens at about like week 9. Week 9 or 10. But anyway, it's a bit bigger. Yes. So exactly like if you were in a bumpy car journey for 9 months, you would, exactly like someone said, you would be needing sustenance. Now the fetus doesn't really need to drink because it's surrounded by liquid, we'll talk about that in a bit, but it definitely needs nutrients, like it's growing a lot. So how are we going to get nutrients into the fetus? Well, you don't have to take in nutrients through your mouth, do you? You just need nutrients to be in your blood. So what happens is, if you've got a little bit of string, first please forget about the blue tack being the fetus. We need to make a new fetus which will survive in our uterus. Can you cut a little bit of plastic? Just a very small, like the size of a, I don't know, child's thumb. It's got to fit in the spice jar. And you've got to be able to tie a bit of string around it. So if you've got a little blob of plastic that you can tie a bit of string around and will fit in your spice jar, then you're okay. So I've done about that big. And I'm just going to cut some grooves in it to sort of make it like an hourglass shape, an egg timer shape, so that I can tie some string to it. So this string that we're going to tie around our little fetus, the plastic is the fetus. We're going to tie some string around it, and that is going to be the umbilical cord. You might have heard of the umbilical cord. You have once had an umbilical cord attached to you as you were growing in the uterus. Your parent was eating stuff, and those nutrients were travelling, not actually, the fetus's blood and the parent's blood don't actually touch, but nutrients were passing out of the parent's blood and into your umbilical cord, the bit of string. And then, oh, someone's saying that I spelled fetus wrong. No, according to the mark schemes that I could find, like the GCSEs that you might end up doing, you spell it like that, so let's make it easy for ourselves. Nutrients from the parent's blood eventually make their way through the umbilical cord and into the fetus. Do you know where the umbilical cord attaches to? You must do. Where does the umbilical cord attach to? Which bit of the growing fetus is the umbilical cord attached to? So hopefully now you've got a tiny little bit of plastic with a bit of string, umbilical cord attached. The belly button, innit? That's what your belly button is. Exactly, yes, well done, Olivia, age 8, who is now 9. So this bit of string we'll pretend is on our fetus's belly button. Yes, so that's where the nutrients pass. It's also where the oxygen goes. In exactly the same way, oxygen diffuses out of the parent's blood vessels and eventually makes its way into the... Well done, Sam, exactly. Well done, Marco. The oxygen and the nutrients eventually make their way down the umbilical cord. Okay, whew, so we're going to make that string about the same length as the spice jar. I'm going to cut it a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact this, does it? It's all about understanding. It's not about a beautiful model. But I've cut my string so it's about the same length as the spice jar. And put your fetus inside the spice jar. And first of all, just give it a little shake. And tell me what you observe. Belly button, exactly, everybody. What do you observe if you put your fetus inside the spice jar and give it a shake? Can you hear like a little ding-a-ling-a-ling? Isn't it only your belly button after the cord is cut off? Yes, exactly, yes. When you're a fetus, it's not your belly button, is it? Yeah, it's just where the umbilical cord is. So that's not good. Our fetus is going to get extremely damaged. How could we stop this bit of plastic from making a noise when we rock the boat, as it were? So this is the parent's, this is a parent who's wandering along. Could be doing anything. Could be like building a garden shed or climbing up a ladder. You got to make sure that the fetus is protected. So we'll add some water because that is actually what happens. Fluid, exactly, Katie, well done. Someone's saying which parent? The parent who has the uterus. The one with the female reproductive system in him. Right, there we go. So now, if you've got an adult in the room and they let you, or you could just watch me, if you filled it with water and then you put your hand over it and you give it a little shake, nothing happening. See? Nicely cushioned. Wonderful. And that is what's happening inside the womb, inside the uterus. I've got a picture here for you and everything. Here we are. Here's a better diagram, thank you Vecteezy, of the uterus. So, what happens is that a little sac forms around that growing ball of cells. You know, I said that eventually the ball of cells embedded in the uterus becomes an embryo. What actually makes it an embryo is when it's grown a little sac around it called the embryotic sac. Embryo. There we go. The embryo grows this little sac around it called the amniotic sac. Amniotic. I love the word amniotic sac. I don't know what, it just sort of it feels like a great act of rebellion that they haven't put a K on the end. So it's just like a really easy way of spelling sac. Anyway, this little growing embryo has an embryonic sac around it, which is what the fetus develops in. So we can say that this spice jar is kind of like the embryotic sac. And inside the embryotic sac is the embryotic fluid, which is doing what it's doing right now in our model, is protecting the baby. So the amniotic sac contains amniotic fluid. There we go. Right, well done you lot, who said that you would need some protection. You certainly would. So this is kind of like Jan said, it's kind of like your seatbelt, the amniotic fluid. It keeps you in space. For humans, it's spelled fetus. Oh, interesting. So maybe it's an O if it's not a human fetus? I don't know. But thank you for the comments anyway. I know I've been spelling it with an O my whole life, but, you know, it's easier, isn't it? So what have we got? We've got the amniotic sac, which is the spice jar. We've got the amniotic fluid, which just protects the baby from damage as it's being jiggled around in the womb. The fetus, I should say. You don't call it a baby until it comes out. We've got the umbilical cord, which is going from what will be the fetus's belly button. But we're sort of missing a bit, aren't we? Because what's happening at the top here? What does this bit connect to? Well, you need your blue tack again, because we're going to make the last word that I need you to know, which is the placenta. This is the placenta. Let's write it down. The placenta is an organ, actually. It's the organ that allows the nutrients and the oxygen to pass from the parent's blood to the fetus. So, but it's not inside the amniotic sac. It's like attached to the outside of the uterus. I can show you with my diagram here. So this sort of lump here, can you just see the umbilical cord is coming out of this organ here, and then this is the amniotic sac. So attach your Play-Doh to the other end of your string, and then we'll stick it just on the outside of the amniotic sac at the top, like right on the outside of the jar. There. It's not pretty, but I'm quite happy with the model actually. So I'll show you what's happening inside the placenta. Because again, it's really cool. Yeah, the fetus's blood and the parent's blood don't actually ever mix, because sometimes, I don't know if you know, with a lot of people have got different blood groups. It might be that the fetus's blood and the parent's blood are not the same blood group, and that actually, if they were to mix, then like blood would be rejected from the body. It would be very bad. So what happens is you've got the placenta, which we'll say is this bit here, and the placenta has the parent's blood vessels running through it with all the lovely oxygen that they're breathing in using their nice adult lungs. There we go. And the nutrients, obviously, that they've got from eating the food. And what happens is the fetus's blood vessels sort of snake this way inside the umbilical cord. And when they get in, if you've seen any lessons we've done on lungs, it's quite similar. They sort of spread out so there's a really big surface area. So there's loads of room for the nutrients and oxygen. I'll do that in red. Nutrients and oxygen. See if you can see what I've missed out. Another thing that has to happen for this little fetus to survive. So nutrients and oxygen come from the parent's blood, diffuse out, and eventually make their way into the fetus's blood vessels, which are carried along the umbilical cord to the fetus, whatever it is here. Better give it legs. Pew, pew. There. Nice job, Lara. Waist. Exactly. Well done, Olivia age 8, who is nearly 9. Is 9. Yes, the waist. Because the fetus is receiving nutrients and oxygen. So just like all humans, it's producing a lot of waste. It's producing carbon dioxide. It can't be breathing the carbon dioxide out with its lungs. It ain't ready for that. It's got to send its waste back up the umbilical cord, and that diffuses back in to the poor parent's blood vessels, and the parent has to like breathe that out and get rid of that as well. So we'll call it waste. You could call it, we'll say carbon dioxide. It's various things, but one of the things is carbon dioxide, CO2. So that goes that way. Whew. If, for example, I were to ask you a GCSE question about this in a few minutes' time, you would need to be careful that you got them the right way around. Nutrients and oxygen from parent to fetus. Waste, like carbon dioxide, from fetus to parent. Okay, right, I think that's it. I haven't written you the word umbilical cord. So I'll do that now, just so you know. It's an I sometimes sound like I'm saying umbilical cord. Umbilical. And the chord is that kind of chord, not a chord on a guitar. Whew. Oh, hello, Reggie. Ah, yeah, okay, so there's different kind of blood groups, Reggie is telling us, like A, B, A plus B, and O. And if two different kinds of blood mix, you create antibodies that destroy that blood. Yeah, that would be dark, wouldn't it? This is why when you have a blood transfusion, you have to have someone who's donated your kind of blood. Exactly, yeah, nice, well done, thank you for that. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with this actually. We've got our little plastic fetus with a string umbilical cord. Waste is going from the fetus to the placenta and then diffusing into the parent's blood, and oxygen nutrients are coming from the placenta, diffusing into the blood vessels, which are inside the umbilical cord. That's what the umbilical cord is, it's the fetus's blood vessels. It's a bit weird because, yeah, when the baby is eventually born, you just cut it off, but, you know, it's fine. Nature takes care of it. Baby's got a lot going on. I don't think it really notices. Yeah, so this jar is the amniotic sac, and it's actually got two layers. The layer on the outside is like the outside of the jar, which is in contact with the placenta, and the layer on the inside is where all the amniotic fluid goes. Whew, okay, shall we check if you've understood that? Should we play a quick game of bingo? How do waters break? Oh, Olivia. Well, don't know. Don't want to think about it. I can't really give you a very scientific answer to that, I'm afraid. I really should be able to. I'm sure that one of the parents in the chat will be very happy to jump in and tell you. So, I don't know if this was very mean of me. Maybe this was a bit awkward for some of you. Usually if I give you the printouts, I give you everything. But I didn't give you this bingo sheet because I wanted you to have a go at writing out these words for me. Now, some of you will have difficulty writing or you won't want to write fast. That's absolutely fine. You could always just look at the screen and not write it. But if you've got time, can you just draw a very quick, doesn't have to be neat, grid of 3 squares across and 3 squares down and write from left to right, top to bottom, the words placenta, sperm, zygote, uterus, amniotic sac, amniotic fluid, egg, embryo, and fetus. What? You're right, you guys crack on with that. I'm going to read these amazing adult comments. The waters don't always break. Some babies are born in their amniotic sac. Really? I say. Most creatures can control the amount of nutrients they give their offspring in the uterus. Really? But in humans, we run on demand. Oh, so that's why a baby can damage the parent. Oh, that's so interesting. Really? So most creatures can just be like, nah, I'm having all these nutrients today. The little fetus can wait. Huh. Interesting. Olivia loving my drawing of a baby. That's good. I spy a Beano. Yeah. Yeah, Olivia, of course you can do the bingo. Just do it slowly so that you don't tell everyone the answers. Okay, nearly ready for the questions. Oh, no way! Olivia, age 8, who's 9, was actually born in the sack, as the waters did not burst. Whoa! So, yes, some people do eat the placenta. In some cultures, there's real sort of rituals around, like eating the placenta. It's true. It's got a lot of nutrients in it. So some babies are born in the amniotic sac, and presumably then you get the sort of very satisfying job of like poking the sac, and all the amniotic fluid like flies out, and then the baby takes a deep breath and starts to cry. Wow, sounds amazing. I bet there's a YouTube video of that. Okay, have you done it? If you haven't done it, just watch the screen. I'm going to start reading you some questions. Mark them off as you hear the answer, and then if you get 3 in a row, so 3 diagonally or 3 up or 3 down, once you've got 3 in a row, shout bingo at me in the comments and win all my respect. You've all got my respect anyway. Question number 1. What is the name of the organ which allows oxygen and nutrients to be passed to the fetus? What is the name of the organ that allows nutrients and oxygen to be passed to the fetus? What is the name of that organ that allows the oxygen and nutrients to be transferred to the fetus? Question... Ellie, what do you mean bingo? Stop it. Question number 2. What is the name of the bag that contains the amniotic fluid? What is the name of the bag that contains the amniotic fluid? What is the name of the bag that contains the amniotic fluid? That was number 2. Number 3. What do you call the single cell that is produced after a sperm has fertilised an egg? Question number 3. What do you call the single cell that is produced after a sperm has fertilised an egg? Well done, Erin. Well done, Ben/Sophie. My auntie's a midwife and she says it's considered lucky if a baby is born in the sack, but she hasn't seen it in over 10 years. Wow. Huh, there you go. Lucky. Question number 4. What's another word for womb? Question number 4. What's another word for womb? So number 1, the name of the organ that passes oxygen and nutrients to the fetus. Question number 2, the name of the bag that contains the amniotic fluid. Well done, Sadie. Question number 3, what's the name of the single cell that forms after the sperm has fertilised the egg? Question number 4, what's another word for womb? Question number 5, what is the name of the baby just before it comes out of the womb? What would you call the baby just before it comes out of the womb? Like maybe like a day before, 2 or 3 days before, or a month before. Sorry, Poppy, of course it is, I'm sorry. Well done, Ayan, that's right. Well done, Emily and Christina. Yes, Poppy, well done. Oh, well done, Olivia. That's right. Well done, Erin. Hey, well done, Skies. Yes, excellent. Well done, Chloe. Well done, Olivia. That was very fast. Yes, fabulous. Well done. Oh, good. You should have a bingo, that's right. So the name of the placenta was the name of the organ that passes nutrients and oxygen and also allows waste to travel from the fetus to the parent as well. The bag that contains the amniotic fluid is the amniotic sac. The zygote is the name of that single cell, euzygote, just after the sperm and egg have been fertilised. The uterus is another word for the womb. And yeah, it's the fetus. It's easy to get embryo and fetus mixed up. The embryo is the kind of ball of cells that's just embedded in the uterus. And then the fetus, around kind of week 9, we call it a fetus. So for most of the time it's growing in the womb, it's called a fetus. And then when it comes out, you can call it a baby. Oh, well done, you lot. Fantastic. Okay, I'll do my ads, and then we can do some GCSE questions. I'm very happy with these GCSE questions this time. Well done, Emily and Christina. So yes, how I can do these for free. I love my job so much. How this is my actual no-fooling job is that I just put everything online for free. My lessons and my shows that I do on a weekend. So there's one home ed lesson a week and one show with like a Lego story time where I don't ask you questions, I just chat to you. Yeah, and it's all for free. They're all stored on my Facebook channel and now my YouTube channel as well. And the printouts are free as well. But some lovely people, a lot of you, I'm sorry if this advert is very boring for you, are supporting me with a small amount per month. So it's like sort of much cheaper for everyone than if I was doing it on Zoom. Kind of more fun because I get to like read your constant chat, which I wouldn't do on Zoom. So I'm really liking how it works. If you would like to keep me going and help this to be my job, you can go to my Facebook homepage, Children Not You, Adults. You can go to my Facebook homepage and click sign up, and it takes you to this website called Coffee, where you can support me with various amounts per month. I am very grateful for anyone who supports me with anything. If you support me with £3 a month, then I send you some rainbow glasses. They make you see rainbows. I can see rainbows right now. It's so cool. I always forget how cool it is. I'll send you these if you support me £3 a month, and I will say thank you very much. If you support me with £5 a month or £6 a month, oh, thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I've been searching your name quite a bit recently to find where to post these and things. You get Theatre of Science magazine. This is the latest issue, which is on colour. All my table is wet, so I'm trying not to put it down. But yeah, I'll send you this if you sign up. It might take a while because I'm still putting my spreadsheet together because people are moving over from a site that I'm used to use called Patreon, but Coffee is better. So sorry, if you haven't been a patron and you sign up on Coffee, it'll take me a while to realise that you haven't got this. You could just message me. I love being pestered. Or you can wait. But eventually you'll get this if you sign up. It's got activities in it that I can't do in the shows for various reasons. It's got quizzes. Check out this church. It's a real church. It looks like a chicken. It's got a real shocker, hasn't it, about what primary colours are. It's got a comic that my husband is a very good graphic designer illustrator, does for me, about Monet's superpower. Yeah, I'm super proud of it. The next one is on pirates. It's everyone who supports me on Coffee with £6 a month, Olivia, is getting like a little treat, aren't they? And I'm hoping that I can post you the pirate issue of the magazine with the little treats before Christmas. So I'm trying to get the pirate magazine out before Christmas so that I can sort of put everything in the bag for you. But yeah, I'm writing the pirate magazine at the moment. So hopefully, very much hopefully next month. Yeah. Right. GCSE question time. Let's do it. Oh, Olivia, right, I'm excited, thank you. Here we are. Yeah, I love these. Now, I have to admit, I know this stuff, just like you do, but I don't think I would have got any marks for the first question. This is why I like these GCSE questions, because they're a really good way of showing how you can know everything, but you still don't necessarily get marks at GCSEs. They can be tricksy, so this is why we're practicing them, right? Question number 1. We've got a simple diagram here of a fetus in a womb. At the top of the womb, there's a sort of big spongy looking thing, and there's a bit of sort of string coming off it, which is attached to the fetus. The spongy looking thing at the top of the womb is X, and the string-like thing is Y. The diagram shows a fetus in a uterus. State the function of the parts labelled X and Y. I've put, that just means say what their jobs are. Okay, what is the job of the spongy thing at the top? What is the job of the string coming off it? It's just 1 mark for each. I don't think I'd have got any marks for that. Have a go. And then we can talk about why we were all wrong, maybe, or why you're better at this than me. Question number 2. The diagram shows the early stages of embryonic development. So we've got a sort of circle thing here, labelled L, and a tadpole type thing, labelled M, which are coming together in a process that the question is calling process A, and forming a bigger circle thing, which is called N. So apparently this is the early stages of embryonic development, but it's saying what are the names of parts L, the circle, M, the tadpole, process A, and what gets made, N. Okay, it's 1 mark for each. Finish, Polly. What are you talking about? Bye, Jack. Polly, just hang on. I haven't finished talking. Those are the GCSE questions. The summary questions are the questions that I think you should be able to answer, who've been paying attention, what I would actually like you to get from this lesson. Question 1 is, what was your belly button attached to before you were born? Was it the placenta or the amniotic sac or the umbilical cord? And question number 2 is, can you explain what the amniotic fluid does? Do the babies use the placenta as a pillow? That would be cute. I think I don't know if they use it as a pillow, because obviously they're kind of floating, like they don't know which way's up and which way's down. You know, like how astronauts don't really have, well, they sort of strap pillows to them. But I think there are various images online of people in ultrasound seeing their fetus is like holding onto the umbilical cord or something. Right, have you all had a go at that? Shall I tell you the answers? Good. Here we are. So, yeah, question number 1. Did you notice that it said, what are their jobs? I bet loads of people wrote that X was the placenta and Y is the umbilical cord. That was right, but you didn't get any marks for that. You didn't get any marks for saying X was the placenta, because that wasn't the question. The question was, what are their jobs? So for X, the placenta, you could have said that its job... I've been saying parent. The mark scheme does actually say mother. So because the purpose of this lesson is to, you know, maybe get you 3 GCSEs, I'm just going to write what's on the mark scheme. It says transfer nutrients or oxygen to the fetus from the mother. Make sure you get those the right way around. Or you could have had the other one, couldn't you? I'm really sorry. This pen's terrible, isn't it? It's totally pointless, me writing. Or you could have said that it transfers waste from the fetus, yeah, to the mother. And that would be okay as well. Yes, that's the right way around. Has nutrients for fetus? Exactly. So if this was GCSE, you would need to say, like, where the nutrients were going. So you could say, if you'd probably said passes nutrients to the fetus, you would have been okay. And then the job of Y, the job of the placenta, is it carries fetal blood to and from the placenta. I don't know how much you would have had to have write that to get the mark. Carries, I think you'd have had to say that it was the fetus's blood. That is where I definitely wouldn't have got a mark. Carries, I'll do it in capital letters, the fetus's blood, because otherwise the person marking it might think you thought it was the parent's blood. Carries the fetus's blood to and from placenta. Whew. Oops. Yeah, so well done if you got any of that. Yes, you could have put oxygen or nutrients, that would have been fine. Okay, this question 2 is a bit more straightforward, wasn't it? Question 2, I hope you got that L was an egg. Oh, did you remember to write egg cell? Did you write egg cell? Remember I was dropping you some clues earlier. The mark scheme says egg cell, so I'm going to start saying egg cell. Or if you were being posh and you remembered from previous lessons, you could have had ovum, because that's like the posh biology word for egg, but you could have just had egg cell. M is a sperm. Simples. There's no cells involved there. And N was a zygote. Don't put whatever the Pokemon word is. zygote. And process A is fertilization. Do babies have personalities in the womb, or do they develop over time? Oh, good question. So no, going from personal experience, Olivia, I would say that some personality is definitely formed in the womb, and the parents have zero control. What you're talking about is the nature versus nurture debate. Fertilization, like how much of who we are is how we were raised, and how much of it we were just born with. And it is a debate because no one really knows. Phew. Oh, you meant CO2 away from fetus. Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah, great. I'm just liking Ali and Lyra's summary questions. You're right. The belly button is attached to the umbilical cord before you're born. And explain what the amniotic fluid does. I think at GCSE we could probably do better than keeps the fetus from banging around, although that has amused me greatly. Let's say protect it. I mean, to be honest, I would have given a mark if I was marking that for stops it banging around, protects fetus. And the other thing you could say, what else is it protecting? It's protecting the umbilical cord as well, because it's no good protecting the fetus if the umbilical cord snaps, is it? Then that's game over for the fetus. Umbilical cord. And the fetus floating around in the fluid. Splendid. Okay. Whoa, Olivia, that's incredible. Oh, cushions the fetus. Yeah. I don't know if for GCSE you get that or not. Like, while we're just doing sort of the language that you need to get through your exams, I would always say protect. But yeah, I don't know. You probably could have cushions. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? But bye, Reggie. Can you say it helped them practice breathing? What helps them practice breathing? Maybe you know more than me on that, Timothy, but no, I don't think, no, definitely not. If you have twins, do you get 2 placentas? Oh, a brilliant question. Yes, as far as I know, if you have twins, you get 2 of everything. So twins can be formed in 2 different ways, yeah? Twins can be, 2 eggs come out of the ovary at the beginning and 2 sperm fertilise them, so you end up with 2 zygotes and 2 of everything. Or identical twins are when you get 1 zygote and it splits in half, and both those cells travel down the oviduct and into the uterus and grow separately. So yes, as far as I know, in both of those cases, you would get 2 umbilical cords. Yeah, good question. Encase safely the fetus. Encase the fetus safely. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, can we all just say protects now? But yeah, safely encase is good. You need to get across the fact that it sort of stops it getting too bumped about. Just hanging. I know some of you like to be able to write the answers down, so I'm just keeping it on this for a bit while I read the comments. You got them all, Ben and Sophie. Congrats. Oh, well done, Lorraine. Didn't see that. Yes, splendid. Okay, I'm just going to flip it round and say bye-bye. No way! You're a dizygotic twin. What a brilliant word. Taekwondo tonight, says Stan and Ted. Ah, so jealous. Nice. No way! Oh, here we go. Here's some interesting comments. So I've been doing that thing again where I assume that I know things. Never do that. Bye, Sophie and Ben. See you at the worms. Monozygotic twins can share a single placenta. So there's dizygotic. So di means 2, right? Dizygotic twins are twins that have a placenta each. And monozygotic twins share a placenta. That is so interesting. I did not know that. Thank you. Check you guys out, Science Alliance. We really do this together, don't we? My sister's water broke at 23 weeks. And the doctors were worried she would have no lung function because she wouldn't be able to practice breathing. Oh! And now she's 3, says Timothy. Wow. All right. So obviously, yeah, important to practice your breathing. I could tell that you knew more about this than me. Well, that's that. So this is one of those awful situations where, like, no, you couldn't say that because you might know more than the examiner, and the examiner would probably just be looking at the mark scheme and go, no, that's wrong. So, Timothy, that perfectly sums up why you've sort of just got to teach to the exams. Okay. Whoa. Katie, very dark comment at the end there. Martin T. Stephen, it means not identical. Oh, okay, got it. Fetus is spelled fetus in question 1. Oh, yeah. Well, I always copy the I don't copy the exam questions exactly for copyright reasons. So I think that's probably just autocorrect. Good spot, because I've got the mark scheme here. Oh yeah, I should have said, actually, for that last second exam question, if you didn't write zygote, you could have written fertilised egg cell. That's good, isn't it? Yeah, here on the mark scheme they spell it fetus, so that must just have been my autocorrect. Need to look up the difference between fetus with an O and fetus not with an O. All right, you lot, thank you so much for coming. I'll see you next week for the menstrual cycle. What happens if there's no sperm involved whatsoever? What happens if the egg cell comes out of the ovary, travels to the uterus, and then there's no egg? So there's no zygote. What happens? Find out next week. Then we're going to finally move on to how plants reproduce. And then we've kind of got spare lesson at the end. It might be more plants, or we might just look at like strange and wonderful reproductive systems of the animal world. Thought we might like that before Christmas. Bye, Ayan. Thanks so much for coming. Bye, Leah. I'm going to go and have a little choke and some lunch. Bye, Marco. Cheerio. Thing that even share an amniotic sac. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, oh, I didn't say... I'm doing that thing again while I waffle on. But I didn't say that. It's kind of amazing. That zygote doesn't just turn into the fetus. That's a nice thing to say. It also contains all the cells that will become the umbilical cord and will become the placenta, which is kind of cool. So as it's... I think I said the word blastocyst. As it's travelling along the oviduct, all the cells split and split and split and split. And eventually you get different kinds of cells, and the cells that will become the embryo sort of lurk in one corner and the placenta cells lurk in the other corner. So yeah, that completely makes sense that twins would share the amniotic sac, because it all comes out of the... Oh no, wait. No, because if it's twins, then it'd be like two cells that each develop. I don't know. Twins. We've got to do some research. Erin! Bye, Emily and Christina. All right, Erin is Rick-rolling me, so it's definitely time to go. Bye-bye, everybody. See you next week for the Worms show, or next home ed lesson for menstrual cycle. Bye.